Yeah, I think Walmart's doing a great job with these Ozark Trail knives. And choosing a white handle color for this one, of course, leads the color options open to the end user. So those of us who are, interested in doing so can add some dye and customize this knife to your own personal preference. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the table. So today we have a new knife from Ozark Trail Holiday 2024. This right here is their take on the axis lock, and they call it the shaft lock. And so this is maybe the newest Ozark Grail knife. So see some neat things before I even open it up. So before we check that out, we can just see what we have in hand. Again, like the packaging this year that Walmart's doing, all cardboard, none of that clamshell, which is impossible to break into. So it looks like we can just slice it open and pull the knife out, which is very nice. But we have these white plastic handles and a black coated blade, and these white handles are going to open up some possibilities. So I'm very interested in that. So let's go ahead and get this knife opened up and see how it compares for a $5 folding knife. All right, so very easy to open. Thank you, Environment, for the packaging. But I think Walmart is onto something right here. So I'm going to go far as to say that Walmart has literally won Christmas this year. And let me explain why. I think somebody at Walmart, at the Ozark Trail branding, whoever's in charge of this line, they're listening. They are doing something right. So they put this knife together. I think they were listening to feedback. They're looking at what's popular and they're looking at what sells. And this is it. So this Ozark Trail knife right here, using a axis lock slash shaft lock, as they call it, this is really nice. And this is a $5 knife. So for the holiday season, if you haven't gone and picked one up yet, stop this video right now, go drive down to Walmart and buy one. If you can buy them online, even better. But sometimes these knives are only available in store. They're in those center aisles. And again, I get nothing from this other than telling you that this is one you probably don't want to skip. But what do we have here? Okay, so first off, we do have a black coated blade, unknown blade steel. So again, only downside is we don't know what blade steel they're using, but we can guarantee you it's very inexpensive. It's very cheap. But the blade does come nice and sharp out of the package. So that's one of the things that does impress me. So, right there, it is cutting receipt paper, which is not always something that's easy to do. And coming straight out of the package that way, it's great. And of course, it's a cheap steel, so you're going to have to resharpen it often, but there's really nothing wrong with that at all. So black coated blade here. It's a drop point design. I do find it kind of funny. The Ozark Trail logo looks a little crooked, but again, that's not really going to detract from the overall use and function of the knife. And there are no other markings on the blade. So what we have here, though, polymer handles, plastic handles, essentially. And what do they call it here? Yeah, polypropylene handle. And it has this really cool pattern textured in there. So kind of nice. But what's also kind of nice, again, Walmart's listening. They made this a white handle. And you know what that means, right? So in addition to looking pretty nice already in its own with the white and black kind of tuxedo theme, stormtrooper theme, you can dye these scales to any color that you want. Because it's white, it's going to dye very well. And you can make this knife whatever color under the rainbow you want to work with, which is super cool. So I have with me, I think I have a few colors here. So I'm thinking like this one right here. This is Rit dye. And this one's sapphire blue. So imagine a blue handle on here. Just some Rit dye. You apply it on there, yada, 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 and it's done. And so you have a knife that you can customize into your own. And it's a $5 knife. So that bottle of Rit dye cost as much as this knife right here, which is, of course, the funny thing about these things is they're so cheap, you can afford to experiment with them and have a fun time. It's awesome. I think it looks pretty good. So check out that blue handle. Not so bad. I think it came out quite nice. So we can see it's the white original color here at the end. And then I kind of just slowly tapered it into a darker blue. So this is actually the Rit dye sapphire blue color. And so of course, based on how long you dip it in the dye for, will determine the color. So we have a darker blue here, and it just gradually fades out to the white color, which was original. So I was kind of aiming for something along the lines of what we see here on this Kaiser drop bear. You can see a bluish color fading into a lighter color. And I was kind of going for something similar there. Something a little bit different. But of course, if you just want it straight blue, you can get it that way as well. If you wanted a super dark blue, you can just dip it for a lot longer. So this dip was about a minute in total in the die. Looking in the handles though, again, take a look inside that construction. I don't know if you can see that fully, but it's entirely plastic construction. We have a slight steel liner here where the action is, and that completely emulates the design of the Benchmade bug out. Identical design, really. So that's really cool. In terms of pocket clip, they do give us a deep carry option, kind of an interesting shape to it. It's definitely formed to this side, and it's only a single position. So you're going to get right-hand side tip up carry, and it appears that there are some inserts for the screws to go into. So you're not screwing into the plastic, but into some metal inserts there. So that's kind of nice. And action with this axis lock, shaft lock is really good out of the package. You can see that right there. You know, there's no issues accessing the blade. It appears that the springs, they seem just as springy as any Benchmade I've ever used. Very flickable, and it runs on bearings. So that means it's literally a drop shut action. Nice big lanyard hole here at the end. And you can see there's some jimping as part of that liner. So this is part of that small steel liner in there. And so let's go ahead and check out the specs of this knife. Let's see the overall length right here. So we can see our blade length is pretty much coming in right at 3 inches long. And the overall length is about 7.5 inches. So 7.5 inches, 3 inches of blade length. Yeah, and that's pretty much tip to scale. So that's pretty accurate numbers there. And the weight is, this is a light knife, honestly, because there's not much to it. There's very little steel there. So we're coming in at, yeah, 2.2 ounces, right on the money. 2.2 ounces for a, 3-inch pocket knife. Not bad at all. Let's actually pull out a Benchmade bug out, put them side by side. So these are the two knives in question. So we have the original right here, and then the predecessor from Walmart. And it's crazy how similar these knives are. So look inside the construction on the bug out. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but you can see, again, it's all plastic construction in here up until we get to the liner where the axis lock is located. It is literally the same construction on both knives. It would not surprise me if the lock from one fit in the other. And now I think design-wise, they may have purposely changed the shape on the Walmart version so that it's not a drop-in fit. But I'm betting with a Dremel tool, you could probably drop one knive's action into the other. It's that similar. It is that similar. So very crazy. Now, of course, this Benchmade is worn and it's nice and smooth. And I can imagine this one's going to eventually get there too. So similar in overall design. You can see the lanyard hole, similar location. We have that similar faux inset look right there. So they were kind of going very similar style, very similar theme, even right down to the screws on the handle being located in very similar places. It makes me think you could probably drop one scale on top of the other and it might actually fit with the screw placement there. It would be really close. And now why would you do that? There's no reason to, of course, but but it's cool to see how far they went to make this so similar, because it's not a copy. It's not a clone. It's not a counterfeit, but they borrowed every good design from the bug out and they brought it to Walmart, to Ozark Trail for $5 or $5.26 or 97, however much it costs. $5 knife versus a $120 knife. So there's definitely something there in that kind of value. So if you're in Walmart this season, pick one of these guys up. Pick two of them up, because again, once these knives go away for the holidays, they tend to not come back. If you remember from a few years ago, we have our original Ozark Trail shaft lock knife. These ones never came back. Great knife, never reproduced them again. So that's very likely what's going to happen with our little Ozark Grail right here. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop one of those below. But I hope you all out there have a nice day. See you later.